I died on a rainy Tuesday in October, choking on the exhaust fumes of my own beat-up Ford as it idled in the garage of that godforsaken family home in Seattle's Queen and neighborhood. My parents' voices echoed in my skull like a bad hangover, the last words they'd hurled at me during dinner. "Bella, you're a failure. Look at your sister. She's building a life while you're dragging us down." The garage door had jammed halfway, and in my haze of pills and despair, I didn't fight it. But as the darkness closed in, a final, bitter laugh bubbled up. If only they knew the land under their feet, the sprawling acre we'd inherited from Grandma, was mine by right, not theirs to squander on Emily's perfect little empire. Then, nothing. Blackness. And suddenly, light, blinding, disorienting light. I gasped, my lungs burning like I'd just sprinted a marathon, and bolted upright in a bed that smelled of lavender detergent and stale coffee. My hands younger, smoother, unscarred by the barista burns I'd racked up over years of scraping by, clutched sheets that hadn't seen a wash in weeks. The alarm clock on the nightstand blinked 7:14 a.m. The date, June 15th, 2018. 3 years before the garage. Before the pills. Before Emily's smug grin as she signed the papers for her dream house, funded by Mom and Dad's generous check that could have saved me from the abyss. I was back. Trapped in my 25-year-old body, heart pounding like a jackhammer, staring at the peeling wallpaper of my childhood bedroom. The family home loomed around me, that creaky Victorian we'd grown up in, perched on the edge of the Puget Sound bluff with views that should have been a blessing but felt like a curse. Grandma's land, 50 acres of forested hillside and waterfront potential, had been her gift to all 3 of us kids. But Emily and our brother Jake had twisted the will through some shady lawyer bullshit after she passed. They convinced Mom and Dad I was too unstable to inherit my share, funneling it all into Emily's real estate fantasies while I got scraps and side eyes. Holy shit. This was real. I pinched my arm hard enough to bruise, waiting for the dream to shatter. It didn't. Tears stung my eyes, not from fear, but from a cold, sharpening rage that tasted like steel. I'd let them break me once. Buried my dreams under their judgments. Watched Emily climb the corporate ladder at that soulless tech firm while I bounced from gig to gig, too ashamed to fight for what was mine.
But now?
Now I had a reset button. And I was going to burn their world down from the foundations, quietly, methodically, without a single drop of blood on my hands. They'd call it betrayal. I'd call it justice. I swung my legs over the bed, feet hitting the worn oak floorboards that Grandma used to polish every Sunday. Downstairs, the clatter of breakfast dishes filtered up, Mom's force chair, Dad's gruff newspaper rustle, Emily's polished laugh cutting through like a knife. Jake was probably still passed out in the basement, nursing his latest hangover. The house felt alive, humming with the lies they'd weave for another 3 years if I didn't intervene. But I wasn't the Bella they remembered anymore. That girl was dead. This one? She had ghosts in her eyes and a ledger of scores to settle. I dressed quickly, jeans that actually fit without the muffin top shame. A faded Nirvana tee for my grunge phase that still smelled faintly of high school rebellion. No makeup. Why bother when the real war paint was the knowledge etched into my soul? As I descended the stairs, the scent of bacon hit me, greasy and nostalgic, twisting my gut. Mom turned from the stove, her Botox-smooth face cracking into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Morning. Sleepy head. Big day ahead. Emily's closing on that internship interview downtown. Of course. Emily's internship that launched her into 6 figures. while I was interviewing for yet another barista spot. Dad glanced up from his Seattle Times, his reading glasses perched on his nose like a judge's gavel. You hitting the pavement today? Bells? We can't carry you forever. There was the casual gut punch, wrapped in concern. Jake mumbled something from the table, mouth full of eggs, his eyes bloodshot and evasive. Emily breezed and then, all golden hair and yoga-toned confidence, her Lululemon top screaming, I have my shit together. She air-kissed Mom's cheek, slid into the seat next to Dad like she owned the place, which, in their eyes,
She did.
thanks for the pep talk last night.
Dad.
I couldn't sleep thinking about it. Her gaze flicked to me, dismissive, like I was a smudge on the window.
Bella.
You okay? You look intense. I forced a smile, the kind that hid teeth. Just excited for you.
Eminência. Knocking Dead. Inside.
I was cataloging, the way her fingers drummed the table, betraying nerves she never admitted, the stack of real estate magazines peeking from her bag, already plotting her conquest. She didn't know it yet, but those dreams were built on stolen ground. Grandma's will, ambiguous on purpose. She'd whispered to me once, drunk on elderberry wine, stipulated equal shares. But Emily had forged addendums, claiming I was incapacitated after a minor car wreck 2 years prior. A wreck Dad's distraction had caused. But who'd believe the family screw-up? Breakfast blurred into small talk, the kind that masked fissures. Mom prattled about PDA fundraisers. Dad griped about gas prices. I nodded, laughed in the right places. But my mind raced ahead.
Step 1. Secure the land.
Grandma's lawyer, old Mr.
Hargrove.
still practiced out of that dusty office in Pioneer Square. I need to get there before Emily's web tightened. Step 2. Expose the cracks. Jake's gambling debts, funneled through Emily's loans that never got repaid. Mom's secret Zoloft stash, hidden in the linen closet, proof of the facade. Dad's business trips to Reno that smelled like bourbon and regret. As Emily grabbed her keys, Dad's spare BMW. Naturally, I stood. Hey.
Ink.
Mind if I tag along? Could use the fresh air. She hesitated, that perfect brow furrowing. Sure, but I have to drop you at the bus stop. Parking's a nightmare. Translation: don't cramp my style. I slid into the passenger seat, the leather cool against my skin, and as we pulled out of the driveway, the bluff's evergreens whipping by, I felt the first thrill of the hunt. This wasn't just revenge. It was reclamation. The drive downtown was a masterclass in Emily's monologue, her 5-year plan, the loft she eyed in Belltown, how networking was key. I listened, interjecting just enough to feed her ego, but my eyes traced the route to Hargrove's office. You know, I said casually, as we idled at a light near the waterfront. Grandma always said the land was our legacy. Equal shares.
Right?
Funny how things get twisted. She laughed, sharp and brittle. Legacy?
Please.
You're still hung up on that? Grandma was sentimental. Dad says it's better managed by people who appreciate it. The light turned green. She floored it, the engine roaring like her defensiveness. I let it drop, but the seed was planted.
Doubt.
My oldest friend. By noon, I'd slipped away from the bus stop pretense and hoofed it to Hargrove's. The old man remembered me, barely, squinting over half-moons at the faded photo of Grandma on his desk. Bella Thompson? Been a spell. What brings you? I laid it out. Voice steady. The will's ambiguities. Emily's meddling. The notarized affidavits that reeked of forgery. His bushy brows shot up. Well,
I'll be.
never trusted that sister of yours. Let's dig into the records. 2 hours later, armed with photocopies and a sworn affidavit affirming my full competency, no incapacitation bullshit, I stepped back into the Seattle drizzle. The documents tucked into my backpack like contraband. The city pulsed around me, ferries honking on the sound, tech bros hustling past with overpriced lattes. The Space Needle piercing the clouds like a middle finger to mediocrity. This was my city now, not theirs. I'd fight dirty if I had to, leak Jake's debts to his poker buddies. Accidentally forward Mom's pharmacy records to Dad's golf cronies. But the land? That was the crown jewel. 50 acres ripe for development, worth millions if zoned right. Emily's house fund? Peanuts compared to what I could build. Back home that evening, the family dinner was a powder keg. Emily burst through the door, triumphant, waving a branded folder from her interview. They loved me. Start date next month, relocation bonus included. Hugs all around. Dad's backslaps. Mom's tears of joy. Jake clapped her on the back, spilling his beer in excitement. I sat at the end of the table, nursing a soda, the outsider in my own home. To Emily, Dad toasted, raising his glass. The one who's making us proud. His eyes skipped over me. As always. The words landed like fists, echoes of that final dinner, the one that drove me to the garage. But this time, I raised my glass too, voice honey-sweet. Here, here. You've always been the golden child. Emily beamed, the others chuckled. Only Jake caught the edge in my tone, his hungover gaze narrowing before he looked away. As plates cleared, I excused myself to the attic, Grandma's old domain, dusty with forgotten trunks and yellowed letters. There, under a floorboard she'd shown me as a kid, lay the original will, handwritten, unambiguous. To my grandchildren, Bella, Emily, and Jacob, equal stewards of the land, to honor the earth that raised us. No loopholes. Emily's forgeries? Felony territory. I snapped photos on my ancient flip phone, evidence for later. Tucking it away, I descended, the house creaking like it sensed the storm. Night fell heavy, rain pattering the roof like impatient fingers. I lay in bed, replaying the day's victories. But sleep dodged me. Memories clawed back. The wreck, Dad's phone in hand as he swerved, Emily's whisper in the hospital. Just say you're fine. Bells. Don't make a scene. The pills prescribed for anxiety, doled out by Mom like candy to keep me quiet. They'd all conspired, knowingly or not, to erase me. But erasure cuts both ways. By dawn, phase 2 crystallized, isolate them. Start with Jake. He was the weak link, addicted to the rush but terrified of consequences. I'd bump into him at his dive bar haunt, offer a loan with strings attached. Confessions recorded, debts leveraged. Mom next, her pill habit a ticking bomb for Dad's image as the upright engineer. Emily? She'd crumble last, watching her empire teeter on the land she thought stolen. The next week blurred into calculated chaos. I landed a temp gig at a coffee shop near Pike Place, ironic. Serving the elite while plotting their downfall, but it bought me cover. Evenings. I pored over city zoning laws online. The library's free Wi-Fi my war room. The land could be eco-preserves, community gardens, or flipped for condos. Options that'd make Emily's McMansion look like a dollhouse. But revenge wasn't about money. It was about the look in their eyes when the mask slipped. Jake was first. I found him at the Rusty Anchor, that sticky-floored joint in Fremont, nursing a pint amid tattooed locals. "Bells? What the hell you doing here?" He slurred, but his eyes lit with guilty relief. I slid onto the stool, ordered a club soda. "Heard you needed a bailout." $5,000, no questions. His jaw dropped, hook set. "Over greasy wings." He spilled. Emily's loans were usury, interest compounding like a virus. She'd forged his signature on the will addendum, promising to cover his markers if he backed her story. "She's ruthless, sis." "Always has been." I nodded, phone discreetly recording under the bar's din. "Family, right? Sticks together." By closing, I had his sworn statement digital, time-stamped, admitting the forgery. Leverage. As I walked home through the neon haze, the Space Needle's lights mocking the stars, a grim smile tugged my lips. One down. Mom unraveled easier. Laundry day. I helped fold in the basement, spotting the orange bottle tumbling from the hamper. Zoloft. Half empty. Prescribed under a maiden name alias. "Mom," I feigned concern, holding it up. Her face drained of color, hands trembling as she snatched it. "It's nothing, Bella." Stress from everything. The floodgates cracked then, tears. Confessions whispered like sins. Dad's affairs. Emily's pressure to keep up appearances, the guilt over pushing me aside. "We just wanted better for you. Thought you'd follow her lead." I hugged her, murmuring sympathies. But inside, ice. Her emails to the shrink, hacked via a simple password guess, her dog's birthday, detailed the family's rot, Dad's gambling parallel to Jake's, Emily's manipulation of inheritance taxes. Copies forwarded to a burner account. Check. Emily sensed the shift. Of course. Dinners grew tense, her questions probing. "You've been weirdly upbeat." Bells. Spill. "What's your secret?" Idishuk. Deflect with vagueness. Just focusing on me. But the barbs flew subtler. Dad sighs at my unambitious job hunt. Mom's averted eyes. The land loomed unspoken. A ghost at the table. Mid-July heatwave hit Seattle like a betrayal. The sound a shimmering tease. I met Hargrove again. This time with Jake's statement. "Enough for a countersuit," he growled, puffing his pipe. "But it'll tear the family asunder." Good. I thought. Let it bleed. The first strike landed soft, an anonymous tip to Dad's firm about his extended lunches. Nothing criminal. Just enough to spark HR whispers. He came home rattled, snapping at dinner. Emily deflected, charming as ever. But I saw the flicker, fear. Then Jake's poker circle got wind of his debts, calls flooded, threats veiled. He cornered me in the kitchen one night, wild-eyed. "This you? Swear to God." Bells. "Family sticks together. Remember?" I whispered, flashing the recording on my phone. His face crumpled, alliance sealed. Or so he thought. He was my Trojan horse now. Emily's internship morphed into full-time glory, corner office, stock options, whispers of a corner house in Magnolia. Mom and Dad beamed, plotting the $100,000 gift from savings that should have included my cut. At the family barbecue, coals smoking under the bluff's pines, Dad pulled her aside, check in hand. For your future.
Kiddo.
You've earned it. I watched from the deck, beer in hand, the sound crashing below like applause. Earned it on my back. You mean? That night, as fireworks popped over the water, 4th of July echoes, I drafted the letter to the county assessor. Petition to reclaim undivided interest in Thompson Parcel 47.
Copies to Emily.
CC to her boss. Subtle poison. Her reaction was volcanic. The next morning, she stormed my room, check clutched like a shield. What the fuck? Bella? This land bullshit. It's ancient history. Dad says you're unstable. Always have been. Unstable. The word ignited the garage ghosts. I stood, calm as the eye. Documents fanned on the bed. Read them.
Eminencia.
Grandma's will. Your forgeries. Jake's confession. She snatched one. Eyes scanning. Color draining. This is lies. You're trying to sabotage me because you're jealous. Always the failure. The door slammed. Shouts echoed downstairs. Mom sobs. Dad's bellows. Chaos. My canvas. But I wasn't done. The controversial play. Leak it all. Not to courts, too clean, but to the neighborhood busybodies. The PDA chain. Emily's LinkedIn circle. Whispers of inheritance scandal at the co-op. Screenshots of the will circulating like contraband. Her boss called HR matter, and just like that, her golden path cracked. She confronted me on the bluff trail that evening, twilight bleeding purple over the water.
Why?
We could have shared. I was protecting us from you screwing it up. Protecting. The lie tasted foul. You stole from me.
Eminencia.
Called me failure while building on my bones. Now watch it crumble. The slap came fast. Stinging cheek. But I didn't flinch. Her eyes, mirror of mine. Twisted by greed, filled with tears. You're destroying everything.
No.
I thought.
I'm rebuilding.
The fallout cascaded like dominoes in a stiff breeze. Emily's gift check bounced back into Dad's wallet, canceled amid the scandal. Banks freezing joint assets, pending probate. Her job? Probation. Then gone. The tech world's glass ceiling shattering under whispers of family drama. She moved into the basement. Jake's domain. Their late-night arguments seeping through vents like smoke. Accusations. Please. The raw underbelly of sibling rivalry turned toxic. I played the innocent, shocked. Really just wanted my share, but inside, the tension coiled tighter. A spring ready to snap. Nights. I drive the old Ford, pre-garage death. It purred like a kitten along the winding roads to Alki Beach. Waves lapping black under sodium lights. Plotting the endgame. The land wasn't just dirt, it was power. Zone for mixed use. It could house affordable units. Green spaces, my vision. Eco-justice for the city choking on condos. Or I could sell to developers. Pocket millions. Vanish to Portland or godforsaken nowhere. Tempting. But too easy. No. This demanded spectacle. Controversy. The kind that made headlines. Forced reckonings. Dad cracked next. His firm's audit uncovered irregular expenses, Reno tabs. Not business. The divorce papers Mom filed cited irreconcilable deceit, her Zoloft logs attached as Exhibit A. He moved to a sad apartment in Capitol Hill. Golf clubs gathering dust. At our forced family mediation, Hargrove's doing neutral ground in a sterile conference room overlooking the monorail, Dad glared across the table, jowls quivering. You did this.
Bella.
Poisoned the well for spite.
Spite?
I leaned forward, voice level. Truth's a bitter pill.
Dad.
Like the ones you ignored in Mom's drawer. Or the wreck you caused. Blaming my distraction. The room froze. Emily's fork clattered. Mom's eyes widened. She hadn't known the full toll. Jake shifted.
Guilty.
The mediator cleared his throat. But the damage bloomed. Dad stormed out, muttering about lawyers. But the seed of doubt flowered. Was I the villain? Or the mirror they avoided? Emily's countermove was pure venom, Machiavellian, worthy of her boardroom polish. She unearthed my old psych eval from the wreck. Acute anxiety. Potential for instability. Leaked to the assessor, painting me as unfit. The petition stalled. Hearings dragged into August's muggy haze. She cornered me in the kitchen one dawn. Coffee brewing like a truce flag. Withdraw it.
Bells.
I'll split the land 50-50.
No courts.
We can move on. Her eyes pleaded. But I saw the calculation. Delay me until her new gig in Bellevue solidified. Then renege. I sip my mug. Steam curling like secrets. Too late.
Eminência.
You built your throne on lies. Now it topples. She lunged, not violent, but desperate, grabbing my wrist.
Please.
Jake's spiraling. Mom's popping pills like Tic Tacs. You're killing us. Killing us. The irony burned. You killed me first. Slow poison of indifference. Theft wrapped in love. I pulled free, leaving her slumped against the counter. The coffee spilling black across the tiles like spilled blood we couldn't afford to show. The controversial decision hit me in a fever dream that night. Go public. Not just family, the world. Seattle's Alt Weekly, The Stranger, ran exposés on gentrification. Family Feud's fodder for their anonymous column. I submitted. Anonymized at first. How my family stole my inheritance and called me failure. It printed Friday. Raw and unfiltered. The will, the forgeries, the garage ghost I alluded to without naming. I almost ended it all, choking on their exhaust of expectations. The piece exploded. Social media ignited, inheritance heist trending locally. Reddit threads dissecting the toxic Thompson clan. Emily's phone blew up, job offers evaporated. Friends ghosted. She barricaded in her room, emerging hollow-eyed. The golden girl tarnished. Jake overdosed that weekend, pills from Mom's stash. Irony's cruel joke rushed to Harborview in a haze of sirens. I visited. Sterile hall lights buzzing overhead, his hand limp in mine.
Sadi.
Sis, he wheezed. Monitors beeping. For everything. Guilt gnawed. But I swallowed it. This was the cost of their sins. Not mine. Mom arrived. Disheveled. Clutching rosary beads she hadn't touched since Grandma's funeral. How could you?
Bella?
The paper, it's everywhere. Her slap was lighter than Emily's. More plea than strike. We love you. We just failed.
Failed.
The word hung. Weapon turned inward. But love, conditional at best, laced with control. I walked out into the ER waiting room's fluorescent hell, the city lights smearing through rain-streaked windows. Love didn't forge documents or gaslight the broken. It rebuilt. Dad's response was nuclear, a countersuit, claiming emotional distress, demanding I vacate the family home as disruptive. Hargrove laughed it off, Frivolous bullshit. But the eviction notice taped to the door that September morning felt like a gut punch. Boxes packed in a frenzy. Grandma's letters. My Nirvana vinyls. The will under floorboards now in a safe deposit box. Emily watched from the porch, arms crossed, a ghost of her former self. This what you wanted? Us in ruins. Not ruins, I thought. Loading the Ford. Reckoning. I drove to a cheap motel in Ballard, the kind with threadbare quilts and harbor views, crashing to the hum of ferries. Dawn brought clarity. Escalate. The land hearing loomed. I'd testify. Lay bare the betrayals. But twist the knife. Donate my share to a community land trust, locking it from developers forever. Controversial? Hell yes. Emily's dreams of flipping for profit?
Dead.
The family's legacy? Green space for the overlooked, not the elite. Word spread, a local activist group latched on. Bella's Bluff, campaign posters sprouting like weeds. Fundraisers at Fremont's Solstice Fair, where drum circles thumped under summer solstice sun. I spoke haltingly at first, voice cracking over the mic. This land isn't mine to hoard. It's ours. Stolen by greed. Applause thundered, but doubt whispered. Was I saint or saboteur? Erasing their security for my vindication? October chilled the air. Leaves turning crimson on the bluff. The hearing packed the county chamber. Reporters. Neighbors. Emily's few allies glaring daggers. I took the stand, heart hammering, the ghosts of that garage heavy in my chest. Your Honor, this isn't about money. It's about betrayal, a sister who forged my future. Parents who prioritized perfection over their child. Exhibits flashed. Will. Recordings. Psych eval debunked by a fresh therapist's note. Patient exhibits resilience, not instability. Emily testified next, voice quavering in a tailored suit that hung loose now. She's twisting it. I protected the family from Bella's volatility. But Jake's video played then. His confession damning. M forged it. All for the land. Gasps rippled. Her facade shattered. Tears real for once. Mom clutched Dad's arm, reconciliation fragile, whispering prayers. The judge ruled swift. Shares restored. Forgeries voided. Emily facing misdemeanor charges. Probation. Restitution. Poetic justice. As we filed out, rain lashing the courthouse steps, Emily grabbed my arm. You win. Happy now. Her eyes, hollow, begged absolution. Not yet. Winter clamped Seattle in its gray fist, the sound a leaden mirror to my fractured triumph. The land trust inked the deal New Year's Eve, 50 acres preserved. Trails named for Grandma. A community center breaking ground come spring. Headlines crowed. Daughter reclaims stolen legacy. Gifts it to the people. Emily's charges? Community service at the very site. Planting saplings under my watchful eye. Poetic. Yes. But the victory tasted ash. Jake rehabbed in Tacoma. Calls sporadic. Mom and Dad's divorce finalized. Assets split like brittle bones. They reached out, tentative texts. Proud of you. Bells. But trust? Shattered mosaic. Edges sharp. Yet the twist came unbidden. A dagger from the past. February's mail brought Hargrove's envelope. One more thing from the will. Inside. Grandma's letter. Dated her final days. Bella. My wild one, if you're reading this, they've tried to bury you. But know this. The land holds secrets. Check the old oak by the bluff's edge. For you alone. Heart in throat. I hiked the trail alone. Snow crunching under boots. The oak's gnarled limbs clawing skyward. There, bark scarred by time. A metal box pried loose. Deeds not just to shares, but to a hidden parcel, 10 acres waterfront. Severed years ago. Titled solely to me. Grandma's insurance against the wolves. Value? 2 million easy. Enough for escape or empire. The betrayal deepened. Emily hadn't known. But her greed unearthed this buried gold. I sat against the trunk. Wind whipping salt spray. Sobs racking, not joy, but grief's echo. Dead once. Reborn twice. The garage's fumes lingered in memory.
But now, choice.
Sell and vanish. Or build affordable housing on my slice, mirroring the trust's ethos. Controversial still. Neighbors griped, overdevelopment. Emily seethed at the irony. But in board meetings, suits debating blueprints, I found purpose. No longer failure, but force. Emily's redemption, or reckoning, unfolded in fits. Service days. We'd dig side by side. Dirt caking nails. Silence thick as fog. One April afternoon. Rain easing to mist. She broke. I hated you.
You know.
From the womb. Mom's favorite stories, always yours. Wild Bella. Not perfect me. Confession spilled. Her forgeries born of terror. Jake's debt's a cover for her own credit spiral. The internship a lie to mask embezzlement from a prior job. I thought if I controlled the land, I'd control us. Save us. Save us. The word hung. Bridge or noose. I handed her a sapling. Roots dangling like nerves. Plant it straight.
Eminência.
Roots steep. Or it falls. She nodded. Tears mixing mud. First crack in the ice. Summer bloomed defiant. Wildflowers rioting the bluff. The center's ribbon cutting a circus of locals and press. Mom attended. Arm linked with a new bow. Dad sent a card. Forgive if you can. Jake emerged sober. Volunteering weekends. His laugh tentative but real. Emily? She started over, barista at my old haunt. Irony's wink, nights studying real estate ethics. Of all things. We talk sometimes. Porch swings creaking under stars. The sound whispering absolution. Not sisters reborn, but survivors. Scars mapping the piece. Yet the end wasn't tidy bows. Controversy dogged. Lawsuits from holdout developers.
Up, EDS decry my vindictive philanthropy.
Emily's probation ended with a plea deal. But whispers followed. The thief who got away. I fielded hate mail. Therapy unpacking the garage's shadow. But each dawn. Driving the Ford upgraded now. No fumes to site meetings. I breathed freer. The land thrummed underfoot. Grandma's legacy alive in laughter of kids on new trails. One dusk. As fireflies danced the meadow. Emily joined me at the overlook. The city sprawled below. Lights winking like confessions. You kept it quiet, she said. Voice soft. The extra parcel. Could have buried me deeper. I shrugged. Wind tousling hair. Twist of fate. Or Grandma's last laugh. We stood. Not embracing. Too raw but adjacent. The chasm narrowing. Betrayal's sting faded. Not gone. But transmuted. Fuel for growth. Not graves. As years blurred, center thriving. My nonprofit swelling, I looked back rarely. The garage? Demolished. Green space now. Failure?
Nah.
I was the quiet keeper. Land's guardian, family's reluctant phoenix. And in America's relentless churn, tech booms. Family feuds. Dreams deferred, I'd carved my notch. Proof that from ashes, not just revenge, but roots could rise.